he had selected a genuine all-leather Atlanta Braves jacket. I looked at him and I said, for an orphan that didn't have anything, you certainly have stepped up. Well, it's really exciting to be with you. We trust that as we go back in our memories, that we'll uncover something that maybe can be helpful to you. Right now, our emphasis has been ways that our life has been touched in travel internationally. So today, I really want to just touch base with a very special project. Actually, there's a reference to it in this wonderful book by Stephen Curtis Chapman. It's entitled Between Heaven and the Real World. Well, we were a very small, minor part of the real world. The great musician and songwriter Stephen Curtis Chapman, he and his wife established a very strong missions outreach to orphans, and he successfully established orphanages in various parts of China. But I was involved with a missionary that was connected to the missionary preparation school that's located in Walhalla, South Carolina. And we kind of teamed up with her. It was a lady missionary, and she helped guide us and direct us in our dealings with China. And we were able to reach out and to touch the life of Zhou, who was actually 20 years old. Now let me explain that in China, they put a strong emphasis on two things: limiting the number of children that a family can have. One is preferred. I think two could be allowed. But the real challenge is that they value boys more than girls. And so girls wind up in orphanages, and a lot of the orphans have disabilities. Now, Zhou was in the orphanage there in Luoyang City. Well, that's where Stephen Curtis Chapman built an orphanage. And we were able to communicate through the missionary and arrange for Zhou to come to America. Now, he had lost a leg, a major part of one leg. Now, when he was like about 2 or 3 years old, he had been bit by a pig and lost the lower part, like just really close to where in America, if you're amputated, they leave a stub to connect the prosthesis to. And so it was a real special effort. But together with Stephen Curtis Chapman and funds that he made available through his organization, we were able, with that help, to have Zhou come, approved by the Chinese or the government of China, and they also have another little deal that they work, and that is orphan cannot be over 14 years of age and leave China. Now you have to adopt them before age 14. Well, when our mission program at our church got rolling, we reached out a second time, and it was for Jeffrey. Well, Jeffrey was 13 years old, and we kind of had to work quick because a family in our church wanted to adopt him. Well, we had to move quick because at age 14 they're cut off. And so when he landed, Jeffrey I'm talking about, when Jeffrey landed at the Greenville airport, he landed on his birthday. He landed in America and got off the plane at the airport on his 14th birthday. That's how close it came to his being held back in China permanently. Well, Jeffrey was really a special boy, and he had special schooling because he was considered blind. And he went to the school in Spartanburg and did really well. In fact, he did so well that in addition to his talent being uncovered, which he taught himself how to play the piano. He had a natural gift and talent for playing the piano, but he made so much progress while he was at the school in Spartanburg that he actually attended Clemson University in Clemson, South Carolina. That's an interesting story to me, and Jeffrey was adopted, and he stayed and became a part of America. But Zhou, he was 20 years old, and he had already passed the age when he could be released from China. So when Zhou came, he had to go back. But it was so exciting and enlightening for him to be with us. When Zhou got off the plane, he needed a coat because they hadn't anticipated the temperature. And so I took him to the mall and took him to one of the large stores there, and they had an entire section for winter coats. So I told Zhou, I said, Zhou, you need a coat. And so you go in here, and there are all kinds of coats, everything you can imagine. And I want you to go through, hand pick out, try it on, make sure it fits, and I'm going to buy it for you. And so you have a good coat. Well, I kind of walked away, just turned him loose, let him go, and he got one, and he brought it to me. He said that he really liked it. That was his favorite of all the coats and jackets. That was his favorite. So I want to tell you what it was. He had selected a genuine all-leather Atlanta Braves jacket. I looked at him and I said, for an orphan that didn't have anything, you certainly have stepped up in a major way, because it was a pretty high price tag for a genuine leather coat. He stayed in my home for a good bit, and and we enjoyed having him. And then he stayed in other homes connected with the church. Well, anyway, he was enrolled in Greenville, South Carolina, in a service provided to help immigrants, or in this case, a Chinese orphan, to learn English. And I'm proud to say that Zhou was the most aggressively successful person they had ever had in the local program of teaching and upgrading a person's language in English. So that was very rewarding. I want to talk to you about how the Stephen Curtis Chapman group helped us in providing the prostheses. Now, they're very expensive, but a local company actually gave him 2 brand new additions to his leg and replacement of 1 foot. And he was given all of the training on how to use it. Well, you say, why did he need 2? In China, they did not have the facility available for the orphans. They didn't waste or didn't expend a lot of money on orphans. And so if anything went wrong with his prosthesis, he would just be out. Well, we were able to have him fitted with a second, and he took the spare back with him, and he left America wearing a prosthesis that he had been trained locally here to wear and take care of. And then he had an extra that he had with him, and it just made his life so much easier and so much better. Let me tell you something else that happened. Here in Greenville, South Carolina, our professional hockey team heard about Zhou. He went to a game. They featured him as a special guest of the team, and they presented him with a hockey stick bag. Now, a hockey stick bag is the full length of the hockey stick. They gave him 1 stick and 2 or 3 pucks, I guess is what you call them. Anyway, we came up with a special idea for Zhou, and we asked him, we want to have you take new clothes back to China with you. He didn't have much of anything with him when he came, and so we were actually redressing him. Well, we asked him, what is your favorite thing? If you could have one thing more than anything else, what would you like? He said, denim. And that's all he said, denim. And so he went back to China with a hockey stick bag with a hockey stick in it, a few pucks or whatever they call them, and the rest was full of denim clothes of all descriptions in his sizes, and it was so heavy that we had to pay an extra $200 for baggage out of our missions account because of the weight of all the denim in that huge hockey stick bag. I hope that that you've enjoyed that and just might be inspired to reach out yourself to minister to a Chinese orphan. There are ways to do that, and Stephen Curtis Chapman has established these orphanages all over China, and so it would really be a tremendous blessing for you to be able to do that. And so we hope that you'll tune in again. I think maybe there are ways that you could subscribe and maybe tell other people about travel memories. Thank you for watching.